Hello, my friends. It is day 230, and we're reading Jeremiah chapter 38 through Jeremiah chapter 40. We're also reading Psalms chapter 74 and Psalms chapter 79. But before we get into our recap today, I want to thank you for taking an opportunity to check out this video. Hopefully, you're finding the yearly Bible reading program to be very helpful, very encouraging as you read the Bible every single day. If you have not yet accepted the invitation to be a part of this group, I would like to extend an invitation to you. You can check out the description box below, and there you will find the link that will take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app, where you can join a number of people reading the Bible every single day and leaving feedback on the things they're learning. We'd love to have you as a part of our group and as a part of this reading community. Now, today we're reading in the book of Jeremiah, but you'll see we deviated a bit to the Psalms, which has been our first reading out of the book of Jeremiah in almost 2 weeks, I believe. So, and there's great reason for that. But isn't it interesting that we're still reading in the Psalms? And it just goes to show you how woven the Psalms are in the history and the story of Israel. And so one of the things that we want to pay attention to is how the Old Testament, Old Covenant, should I say, family of God, the Old Covenant believers utilized and wrote the Psalms as they were going through a variety of experiences that is found throughout the biblical narrative. And so we want to pay attention to that, and we want to see just how useful the Psalms are, because a lot of times we just see them as a random collection of poems or songs, but now there's so much meaning and usefulness for the Psalms in everyday life. Okay, so we want to note that, and we're going to look at one in particular that helps us bring together everything we read today as it pertains to Judah's plight. Now, obviously, Jeremiah has gone through a number of things. In chapter 38, we see where he's called a traitor. He's thrown into a cistern, and it's all because he's telling Judah what is going to happen to Jerusalem, and that's just out of the question. The fact that Babylon will come and will take this city. But that's exactly what's going to happen. And we see that this happens in chapter 39, where it says in January of the 9th year of King Zedekiah's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came with an entire army to besiege Jerusalem. And 2.5 years later, on July the 18th, in the 11th year of Zedekiah's reign, a section of the city wall was broken down. So if you can imagine, this is a process. It's not like a single event. I want you to think about how terrible this must have been. Years are going by where they are slowly but surely being overcome by their enemies, and there is nothing they can do to stop it, because all of this is the Lord's doing. In chapter 39, you'll see in verse 6, it says, the king of Babylon made Zedekiah watch as he slaughtered his sons at Riblah. And that's just goes to show you the brutality and the devastation that was coming over this people. It says the king of Babylon also slaughtered all the nobles of Judah. He gouged out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him in bronze chains to lead him away to Babylon. So if you can imagine, the last thing that he saw would have been his sons being slaughtered. What a terrible thing. It says, meanwhile, the Babylonians burned Jerusalem, including the royal palace and the houses of the people, and they tore down the walls of the city. It says, then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took as exiles to Babylon the rest of the people who remained in the city, those who had defect, and everyone else who remained. But Nebuzaradan allowed some of the poorest people to stay behind in the land of Judah, and he assigned them to care for the vineyards and the fields. So you can see this process is strategic. This is how, what we just read just a moment ago, is going to help us understand how Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, made it to Babylon. And we see this all happening right here in the book of Jeremiah. Now, the reason the Psalms are relevant is because it explains the heartache of what just happened. And the Psalm that we're going to look at today is found in chapter 79, where it is confused over the fact that the Lord has allowed the pagan nations to take over the land. Here's what it says. And this is very powerful. It says, "O God, pagan nations have conquered your land, your special possession. They have defiled your holy temple and made Jerusalem a heap of ruins. They have left the bodies of your servants as food for the birds of heaven, and the flesh of your godly ones has become food for the wild animals. Blood has flowed like water all around Jerusalem. No one is left to bury the dead. We are mocked by our neighbors as object of scorn and derision to those around us. O Lord, how long will you be angry with us? Forever? How long will your jealousy burn like fire?" Then it says, as it were, with all this going on, there's a plea for help. It says, "Help us, O God, our salvation. Help us for the glory of your name." Literally, what it's saying here is, Lord, don't help us because of anything we've done. We have nothing to bring to the table, but help us for your name's sake. Save us and forgive our sins for the honor of your name. Why should pagan nations be allowed to scoff, asking, "Where's their God?" Show us your vengeance against the nations, for they have spilled the blood of your servants. Listen to the moaning of the prisoners. Demonstrate your great power by saving those condemned to die. O Lord, pay back our neighbors 7 times for the scorn they have hurled at you. So you can see the angle of this psalm. The thing about this is it is too late. Okay. Jeremiah had been weeping and mourning and lamenting over the state of Judah, and God on several occasions told him, "Stop crying, because your tears will not prevent what I'm about to bring to this people." Now, it does not mean that God will not redeem them or forgive them, but what he is saying is that this judgment is necessary. This judgment is necessary. Redemption will come, restoration will come, revival will come, but this judgment, this chastisement is absolutely necessary. And it shows us that sometimes before we can get to revival, we must go through punishment. We must go through chastisement. We must go through the damnation, or the consequence of the damnation that we have caused upon ourselves. That's what's happening here in Judah. And even in all of this, you still have in the back of your mind that God is going to deliver them, set them free, restore them, and revive them according to his great goodness and according to his namesake, or for his namesake. So what we find here is something that we can begin to process and then look forward to see how it's all going to unfold. I would say this, maybe it's a bit of a spoiler that you may already know. Essentially, all of this is setting the groundwork for why we need Jesus Christ, or why they needed Jesus Christ, and ultimately how we receive Jesus Christ in our own unique way of needing him. Okay, so you want to pay attention to how this whole narrative so far is still talking about Judah and Israel, and we will later discover why there was a need for Jesus to those Gentile groups. But we want to be able to identify the distinctions between the need that Israel had and the need that the rest of the world has for a Messiah. And so the beautiful thing is that Jesus, in his own way, he fulfills both needs. Therefore, he is the Messiah to both the Jew first and the Gentile. All right, so we're going to keep reading. We have so much to go through, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about what it is you're learning. So please leave it in the comment box below or in the YouVersion Bible app, and we'd love to have some conversation there. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. God bless. And remember, live by the word.